Hi everyone, my name is Krista. Welcome back to my channel, The Radical Angel Esoterica. Today we're doing our moon sign series, finally. So I hope that you enjoyed your sun sign series and that was helpful for you. Today let's get right into it. We're doing moon in Leo. So let's begin just by talking a little bit about what Leo is and what the moon represents. So Leo is a fire sign. It's the fifth sign of the zodiac. It rules creativity and expression, being in the spotlight, courage, and children, actually. So being able to be childlike, not childish, but childlike. Basically that air of exploration, everything's new. It's a really exciting energy. And of course, Cancer is the fourth sign in the zodiac. It is a water sign. It's ruled by the moon, and this is our shadow side. So they're actually opposites. So Leo sitting in the moon, or our moon ruled Leo, is in virtual opposition to each other. There's the sun ruled Leo in the moon. So you could actually, it's counterintuitive how the moon's gonna feel in Leo, actually. This could give you a lot of exuberance emotionally. You could be emotionally tied, for example, to the mother, to creative expression, to children, and really adore children. You could want a lot of your own, or just need to be around them. If you're young and watching, for example, you could be planning on having a lot of children. You could be working with children, or even be studying them or writing books about them. You could be exploring ways on for adults to find the child within, to honor the child within, or how to be, say, spontaneous. And you're not shy, right? You're not shy about expressing this either. So that's why I don't think it's necessarily a poor placement. Even though, like I said, they're opposites, I think it's a wonderful placement for Leo to be in the moon. Again, depending on your sun and your rising sign, of course, and if there's any difficult placements. Definitely look up your chart and find out where everything sits and how early into Leo it is. You'll be the highest kind of Leo personality if you're later in the degrees, as opposed to the first, say, 12 or 15 degrees. It's going to be early, and you might still even have some Cancerian traits if it's around 0 to 8 degrees. But the further you go in to its placement, the more Leonian it becomes. And again, I think it's wonderful. The only caveat here is that you could be accused of being too emotional, or finding someone's weak spot emotionally, like you're able to emotionally and intuitively become aware of people and have people trust you. Just beware that you're not using that against them or to your own advantage. You want to play fair. So some of the major themes around the moon, as I said, it is Cancer ruled. And I'm going to be posting everything that I'm referring to today, by the way, in the description box below. I'm just referring to some material, and the rest of it I'm just taking from having read about this for the past almost 30 years. I'm genuinely interested in astrology, so this is just coming from a personal interest of mine. But it's generally the dark side. So the dark side of Leo could be someone who tries to dampen their own talents. You got to remember too, Leo is the fire, Cancer, or the moon ruled Cancer. Cancer ruled moon is the water. This could put each other out. You could dampen this fiery quality or emotional self of yours, or you could create steam with it. You could get a lot of energy generated from it. So it just depends on how it's used. So the fourth house is security. It's the mother, intuition, your emotional world. You probably looked up to somebody who was a parental figure leaning more toward the male or had male qualities. This is very appealing to you. It could be that you grew up in a household, for example, where the father was the more nurturing and stable aspect of the home, as opposed to the mother, that the father took on that role, or that you saw him as being more stable. You could have even been brought up in a single parent home where the father was in charge, or if the mother was in charge, she was probably very dramatic. There's a lot of drama here, right? Again, in and of itself, not a negative thing. It's going to depend on how it's used, and what it works with and what it's up against. So that being said, I also want to mention as well that Leo is a masculine energy. The moon is feminine energy. So again, balance is really important here for you, Leo. Let's look at some major themes. I want you to be aware that as for your moon in Leo, you would make a wonderful presenter or even actor for children. You might even, like I said at the very beginning, prefer to work with children. You would be wonderful, a natural personality for that environment. You really like exuberance. Like I said, you really like, oh, look at that, for the first time 500 times. That's not going to fizz you. Every day is a brand new day, a new opportunity. Again, very optimistic energy in the more, say, emotive, sensitive sign. So you move easily around other sensitive people who are also very expansive and energetic. So you are also unbelievably romantic. You are regal. You do like to praise people, but it has to be reciprocal. You're not about to ask for it either. You're not going to ask for someone to validate you. You're going to get that back in your own emotional world by giving it. And you'll find that the people that you get along with the best are able to do that naturally. You don't have to ask, and you're honest about it. You're not doing it to get it back. It's just where you feel most comfortable. You find it easy to praise other people. You find it easy to be praised. And you, again, with drama, you are very naturally suited for the dramatic arts. And I would say this especially if your Mars, Mercury, or Moon is in Leo. This is a very natural placement for you. You could have even just been called a drama queen all your life. Again, doesn't have to be negative. Drama can be fun. Being on show, being on stage, very natural for you. Even if you have some, planets around you that would thwart that somehow, maybe some water signs, something that's a little bit sensitive. But I see you just going out and being yourself, because to you it's just natural. It's just being yourself. You are very creative, spontaneous, fun-loving, and you love to play. This would make you very natural around animals as well. More often than not, cats or even big cats. If you were an individual who was working with animals in rescue, for example, you are more than likely to rescue cats, or even, animals that are on the verge of extinction. More than likely, these are going to be large cats, or you find that very, very appealing. And there's just something very cat-like about you. You like to be petted, you like to be adored, but you want to come and go, but you're very loyal, right? You're not going to go too far. You just like to have, ease of access, ease of exit, and you're very self-assured. You, like I said, you don't need accolades. You don't need validation, but you love it. And you'll never ask. It will come naturally. And by and large, through things that you do. You could make a very good fundraiser, for example, for children's hospitals, again, shelters or animal rescue, or something having to do with the dramatic arts. That could be singing, dancing, theater, cinema, wardrobe, right? Hair and makeup, the way that someone presents themselves. So these are all really cool qualities. And like I said, in Cancer, it's a very intuitive, ruled moon, very sensitive. So you're very sensitive to these things around you as well. So if someone were to hurt an animal or a child, this would kind of get your blood pressure going, and you would seethe over stuff like that, as you should. So I'm going to look at some bright and dark side personality traits to the moon in Leo, and then we will finish up with some famous people with their moon in Leo. So your bright side, all you moon Leos, is that you are more exuberant, creative, broad-minded, colorful, and fun-loving. Yeah, fun with a capital F though. Like, you know, even the mundane becomes creative and exciting. You could even be the type of person who really appreciates someone who starts singing a silly song when they're doing the dishes, or who, you know, if they start to get a little morose or they are feeling a little bit emotional, you're the type of personality to, you know what? I'm going to find a way to express this to get it out, because it needs to get out. There's no fear. Anytime we see Leo in the zodiac, there's a fearlessness involved with that as well. So you're not the type of person to hold your feelings in. For example, I was going to say your opposite, but I don't even think that's true. Your opposite sign is Aquarius. They're not going to hold things in either, but for a different reason. I think your opposite emotionally for a moon sign would be a moon in Scorpio. A moon in Scorpio person would have a lot of emotions, but they're so buried and they're deep, and there's a secrecy there. It's not good or bad. It's not a judgment call. It's just the way it is. With Leo, it's like, oh, I was feeling this way. I'm going to express this now. Or I didn't know how to get this out, so I made a painting. And it's, wow, everyone knows how you were feeling the day that was painted. And it's probably going to be bright. Your color is yellow. Of course, the moon is silver. So really with the balance, you're going to want to keep a really nice, healthy balance there, Leo. The dark side of Leo moon is you're more self-indulgent, self-centered, conceited, overbearing, and bullying. Yeah, like I said at the very beginning, because you're so emotionally adept at what gets people going or fired up or making them feel so good, you can, you know, the negative aspect of that is that you could use that against them or lord it over them somehow. So just beware of how you're using your energy and your emotional world, and make sure that you can be trusted. Make sure if you are getting close to somebody emotionally, that it's back and forth, and it's not about creating a scene. It's not about being on stage or the dramatic component of interpersonal relationships. You know, be willing to go deep with someone emotionally while being spontaneous, while being fun and creative. You're going to find it so much easier to be emotionally related to and to talk to other moon and sun signs that are fire signs. So other Aries and Sagittarius moon and sun signs are going to be people that you find it really easy to maneuver around. And then let's polish it up with some famous people with their moon in Leo. So Clint Eastwood, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Tom Hanks, actually didn't know that, Ralph Nader, Prince Philip, Diane Sawyer, Gloria Steinem, and Oscar Wilde. I mean, these, you can kind of imagine all those names that I just rhymed off, for example. These are people who are larger than life, right? Even though it's a little bit watery and a little bit sensitive, you can even be quiet and non-dramatic, but the way that you have a way of emoting, right? Reaching people's emotions, reaching people's heart is going to be through the way that people can trust you and relate to you, because you're so open. You're so incredibly open. I mean, Ralph Waldo Emerson, for example, one of the most classic poets in the world, Tom Hanks, for heaven's sakes. I mean, this is a person who really, there's actually something childlike about him in a way. He's just a very playful personality. I can see this being extremely helpful, as would a Mercury in Leo would be extremely helpful for the performing arts. Diane Sawyer, again, this is someone who is very comfortable with themselves while showing an interest in other people or taking an interest in other people. They're very self-contained, right? And this is a fixed energy. Leo is a fixed energy in a cardinal position, cardinal ruled position. So you could take on very long-term projects very easily, which is a boon, right, for the artist in all of you. And then Gloria Steinem is another example. She is probably a household name where you are. She is here in the West, for example. And she's a dramatic kind of person without the drama. So there's nothing fake about her. She's been very open, even though I won't get into the politics of her because she's quite a complicated character. But she was actually working for the government for a long time. She had to come out and say that she was back when she was in the early 60s, in the early 70s rather, when she was beginning the feminist movement. She actually was an agent of the government, but she didn't conceal that. She was very open about that, and then she just went on with the rest of her life and continued her activism for women, and very expressive, very exuberant type of personality. Pretty much can't miss her. One thing I want to finish up with as well is just keeping in mind people's hair. So anyone with a strong Leo, I would say especially Leo rising, Leo moon, Leo Venus, and Leo Mercury are going to be pretty obsessed with hair. It's their main. So if they don't come by it naturally, they'll spend a lot of time on getting their hair done or getting wigs and so forth. So I'm going to leave it there. Moon in Leo. I hope that you enjoyed this today. Are you a typical moon in Leo? Did I run off some things that made sense to you? Would you have added something to my lists? And let me know what you thought of the video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and like and share my videos. That really helps me out as well. So until we meet in the next one, take excellent care. Bye for now.